Welcome back, everybody, to our series, The 10 Commandments of Better Pet Parents. These are 10 things that all the better pet parents out there have in common, and thank you so much for joining us. So this week, we're talking about number 6 on the list, which is that better pet parents are proactive about their pet's health and safety. So this is such an important component on this list of things that all the better pet parents do. Being proactive about your pet's health and safety is so important to their welfare, and anything that we can be doing to be proactive, we should be doing. So I want to encourage each and every one of you this week to think consciously about what you can be doing to prevent problems for your pet in the way of their safety and in the way of their health. So safety measures that we can take and that we can think about are going to include things like taking a good long hard look around our home environment, and just as we would for small children, thinking about what things pose a threat, making sure that we get anything out of the way that could be sharp, dangerous, toxic, harmful. Make sure that you're having a conversation with your veterinarian about understanding what things are toxic to your animals. There are certain houseplants and things like that that can be toxic to our animals. So it's really good to ask your doctors if you have any doubt about anything in your home. Say to your doctor, is this toxic? What do I need to do to be as proactive as possible about my pet's safety? So make sure that you're looking very good around the home, and that you're taking a good long hard look too outside. Make sure that the outside perimeters of your home are safe, that your pets obviously are not going to be able to wander into the street. If your pet's going to be spending any time outside, that they have water, that they have shelter, that they have shade if it's hot, that they're not spending too much time out in the elements, and that their basic needs are covered. It's very important to make sure that they're safe when they're outdoors. Make sure that that there's no problems with fencing or anything like that to where you could have a problem with animals next door or getting loose or anything of that nature. And then when it comes to safety, it's also important to mention that anytime you're traveling with your pets, to be thinking about their safety, actively thinking about the correct restraints in the vehicle, making sure that they're safe if they ever travel with you on your bicycle or anything like that. And it's also very common for animals to get into confrontations with other animals when we're out walking. So I encourage each and every one of you to make sure that those harnesses are secure, that those collars are secure, so that if you ever have a situation arise, that you're going to have a handle on that before it can become a problem. So definitely make sure that your pet is not going to be able to slip out of a collar that's too loose if you're out walking around the neighborhood or anything of that nature. I also encourage everybody to think actively about safety when it comes to anywhere that you might be taking your pet, anybody that might be babysitting your pet when you're not around. So if your pet spends any time at like doggy daycare, make sure that you're taking tours of those facilities, that you're asking those people that run those facilities lots of questions about your pet's safety, and that you understand your pet's welfare at all times, and that you know that everybody who's looking after them is also actively thinking about their best interest and their safety. And then moving on to being proactive about your pet's health, I do just want to stress one more time. We talked about this when we talked about My Vet Notes. My Vet Notes is a product that we sell here at Better Pet Parents. That's a health journal to help facilitate communication with your veterinarians. So if you haven't heard about that, I encourage you to go back and check it out. But one of the things that we mentioned when we were discussing My Vet Notes here in the videos was that we at Better Pet Parents are never going to give you specific medical advice. That's not our place. We're just here to help make suggestions about better pet parenting practices. So make sure that any questions that you ever have about what you should be doing medically, what you should be giving to your pet, what you should be feeding to your pet, medical decisions for your pet, all of those need to be directed right at your veterinarian. Make sure that the only medical advice you ever take is from your veterinarian. So when we start talking about being proactive about your pet's health, definitely have detailed conversations with the veterinarian in your life about what's right for your pet's specific case and your pet's specific needs. Every animal is different and has their own needs. So this is not one size fits all when it comes to being preventative about animal health. Being preventative is going to include things like vaccinations, things like monthly preventatives, and which product you use. Those are questions that you need to direct at your veterinarian. So when it comes to monthly preventatives, this is a very important part of pet parenting. As somebody who works professionally with animals, I always tell my clients that it only takes one mosquito bite to be heartworm positive. So you definitely want to make sure that you're being proactive about your pet's health and that you're giving monthly preventatives. They prevent things like intestinal parasites, things that can transfer from animal to animal. They certainly prevent heartworm disease, which is a very serious disease to have. And you definitely want to make sure you're having conversations with your veterinarian and learning about that if you're not familiar with that already, so that you can get your pet tested and on the correct monthly regimen for your pet's needs. There are plenty of problems that animals can get from ticks and fleas, and so those preventatives play a crucial role in stopping things before they start. And one of the things that we mentioned along those lines, one of the things that we mentioned when we were discussing my vet notes is that in life and in our animals' lives, there are always going to be things that are not in our control. Things happen, accidents happen, injuries happen, illnesses happen, and not everything will always be in our control. But if there are things that are in our control, then we need to be consciously thinking about that. So if there are problems that we can stop before they start, then we absolutely need to be thinking about that. And those are things that are going to be related to vaccinations and monthly preventatives. These are things that we can actively have conversations about and put our foot down before these things can become a problem for our animals. So I always like to remind everybody, if there's something that you can control, learn how you can control it. It's very important to your pet's welfare, and it certainly makes a difference in their quality of life. So I encourage each and every one of you to have those talks, learn what vaccines are right, learn what monthly preventatives are right. Definitely ask your vet what you should and shouldn't be feeding your animals. A lot of people are not aware of which foods that they might be giving at home are toxic or just really not good for your animal's health. A lot of table scraps and things like that that can cause pancreatitis and that sort of thing. So I encourage you all to learn what you should and should not be doing to be the most proactive pet parent that you can be. I certainly know that as our animals age, it's pretty common for veterinarians to stop vaccinating if you've got like a senior pet that they may decide that you don't need to do that anymore. So I'm perfectly aware that every case is different, and that sometimes with the older animals, veterinarians will make different recommendations than they would for younger animals. But again, whatever we can do to be proactive for our pet's specific case, have those conversations with your doctor, learn everything that you can, ask all the questions you can, and be proactive. I definitely want us all to keep this on the brain this week and learn everything that we can. Take a good, long, hard look around the home, and let's all educate ourselves on how to be better pet parents. Thank you all for being here for this series, and we'll see you next week for number 5 on the list. And like I say every week, thank you for being one of the better pet parents out there. We'll see you next time.